The Summer I Turned Pretty, Season 2. A Nation Divided. Belly Conklin, Jeremiah Fisher, Conrad Fisher. Not since the wee days of Twilight has a love triangle had such a chokehold on the foundation of society. We are talking shirts, endless Twitter discourses, TikTok videos where the actors involved in the love triangle are actively commenting on videos about it. What? All of this is to say that obviously the love triangle at the center of The Summer I Turned Pretty is one that gets some people heated. It reminds me a lot, like I said, of the Twilight heydays where you couldn't even mutter what team you were without 5 other middle school girls who were your peers instantly turning on you to see why exactly you thought that was the right choice and how it is very clearly the wrong one. But as much as I've noticed the ire and the shipping wars start to really take fire in this fandom, there has been a dark horse, a silent horse, if you will, that has been trotting up quietly all along to surprise us, and I am talking about Steven and Taylor's relationship. I am so obsessed with this relationship, guys. It brings such a smile to my face every time I even think about it. I actually wrote a fanfic about them for the first time in so long, exposing myself a little there, but yes, I am a fanfic girl, okay? I love reading them, but sometimes when you're new to a ship, you can't find it, and you're like, fine, I'll do it myself, Thanos style, you know what I mean? So I really love these two, and what's so interesting to me is that there is video evidence, I'm sure, of me talking about them at the start of the season when the trailer came out and everything, and we knew that Shayla wasn't coming back for this season, who had been Steven's love interest in season 1. All the signs were kind of there, especially considering that they already had hooked up in season 1, that for all intents and purposes, Jenny Han was going all in on Steven and Taylor this season. I'll be the first to admit it, I was a skeptic, okay? I was a skeptic. I totally did not think it was gonna work. I've never been Steven's biggest fan, to be honest. I think the man runs his mouth a lot for someone who also makes a lot of mistakes, but I do feel like in season 2, for the most part, he really stepped up, and I love to see that, okay? I'll hate on a character as much as I very well want, but if there's growth and maturity, that is to me, the biggest, best thing you can do for writing, right? I'm not saying make a terrible villain, give him a redemption arc, right? But I'm saying a whiny little bratty kind of teenager that really just needs to learn how to be more empathetic. I'm all for that. So I wanted to look back at the amazing journey we got of Steven and Taylor this season, just because, like I said, in such a dark time of when anytime you wanted to just see what people were thinking about episodes, you really had to mentally prepare yourself to open up Twitter because you knew the girlies were going to be fighting over there, and anything you said was going to be met with instant weaponry against why you're wrong. It was just nice to go on, search the Steven and Taylor tag, and just meet a bunch of beautiful people who are also excited about the beautifulness of this ship. And I think it was such a surprise for me, and a surprise for anyone who's read the book too as well. Again, I said that the inklings of this was kind of set up in season 1, I think, with their hookup, even though he was with Shyla, because we knew that Taylor had always kind of had a crush on him. They did hook up, like I said, but Shyla and him ended up in a really good spot, I think, and that's why I was so shocked when they decided not to bring Minnie back. And again, justice for Minnie. I feel like she should still be on there. I get that kind of it's a different vibe of the summer, right? I have not read the books, but when they started to start to get together, I instantly opened up Google and was do Taylor and Steven end up together in the books? Because I just can't deal with any kind of suspense, okay? I need to know what happens immediately and then I can deal with it, right? But the really interesting thing is, and you'll know this if you read the books, Taylor and Steven are not a couple in the books. They don't really interact, I think. From what I've been told, Steven and Taylor actually have a smaller role in the books, which I think is one of the benefits of being able to turn a book series into a TV show, and not just that, but also having the literal creator of the book series at the helm, because she obviously probably has these storylines in her head or even stuff that she's thought about now after reading the books. And since they're not together in the books, obviously they don't have a whole lot of background to draw upon if they wanted to based on their book characters. So Jenny Han actually revealed that the direction she gave them when like being their characters is to think that Conrad is to Belly what Stephen is to Taylor. It's that kind of unrequited love that is just unconditional and will probably never go away, which is just so cute. And I do think really when you look at it from the perspective of Taylor's kind of always had this crush on Stephen, I think it definitely makes sense. And I think it's also really cute that like Belly probably couldn't shut up about her crush on Conrad since Taylor's known her when they were little kids, and Taylor's kind of had this similar crush of someone just always being there and yet hasn't been able to say anything because she doesn't want Belly to know that it's literally Belly's brother. Let's look to how we got here. How we went from me being like, oh, Taylor and Stephen are gonna get together, to me literally about to sit down for an hour plus and talk about how much I love these two. So episode 1. Episode 1 was an interesting one because it kind of takes place in a little bit of a catch-up zone. So it's catching us up from where we left off last summer with Conrad and Belly getting together, and also everyone finding out about Susanna's cancer and them convincing her to try and go for the treatment that she initially did not want to. And we flip quickly between that and this current summer where no one is talking, Susanna's dead, Belly's severely depressed, and her and Conrad are broken up. So there's a lot of whiplash in between that and not a lot on the Stephen-Taylor development, I would say. However, I think what's more clear from this is that Stephen definitely has feelings for Taylor. The last we kind of heard about them was obviously she has a crush on him, but Stephen was like, it was a mistake, I'm with Shyla, like it was just like a vulnerable moment. And it did kind of seem like that because I think in season 1 a lot of my issues with Stephen was he just felt like he didn't deserve Shyla because of the differences in their backgrounds and their economic status, which like fair, but also like he was really like self-destruct, like self-implosion. Like, you know, you're throwing yourself on the knife, dude. Like, she is not thinking this is much of an issue as you are, and he was actively making it worse. But I think it's pretty obvious from episode 1 that he is kind of feeling Taylor. There's some kind of flirting going on at school where he's seeking her out, I think, and just a lot of like banter like that. Now, Taylor has a boyfriend. She has this guy named Milo, who's this singer, band guy, whatever, a rock star that claims he writes songs for her but is actually a cover, and I just thought that was hysterical. And she's like, he wrote this song for me, and Steven's like, this is like a really popular song, this is a cover, right? I just love how jealous he was, and I think it was a nice flip for me, and I think what kind of really started to make me go like, ooh, was that Taylor had kind of not given up, but just like moved on in a sense, and like a part of her, obviously we know, would always hold a candle for Stephen, but she had found a boyfriend that she really liked and really liked her. She had that banter with Stephen, but it never devolved into more, I would say, and it definitely seemed from this that Stephen was the more kind of jealous of the two. We saw him try and crowd surf after Milo did it. He unfortunately, which I really felt for him in this scene, but you kind of did it to yourself again. There's a reoccurring pattern with Stephen when he gets in like bad situations, and I'm like, who was the instigator in this? Stephen, 99% of the time it's you, but he ends up driving home with Taylor and Milo in the front seat and has to deal with them making out all the time, and it's just not fun. You can tell that he's just like over it, and in a sense you're like, oh, he just kind of thinks that Milo's like a douche, because Milo does kind of have like douchey tendencies, you know, where it's like he says he writes songs that are actually like popular songs that are like, you clearly didn't write this. So you could see that, but it also just seems just a little bit more. So I really liked that they had that kind of aspect to it. I'm a sucker for like girl falls first, boy falls second, but harder. I think that's so cute, and it was just really nice to see her kind of unbothered and coupled up, and him be on the more like, oh. And I think too, it wasn't even a way of like, oh, I want what I can't have. It was more just like, I feel like someone finally realizing how much they like someone and being like, oh, now I'm just stuck watching them make out with their boyfriend. That's really fun. Episode 2, there was not much development. It was very much focused on catching us up with everything that had been happening with the house selling and stuff like that. So I don't even think we really see them interact, and if we do, it's really very quick, brief. Like, it was definitely focused more so on the whole figuring out what happened with Belly and Conrad and where we are with that. Episode 3, however, though, was again a really cute one because Steven decides to drive up to Cousins, and I believe Taylor's covering for her. She's the only one that knows she's at Cousins, so she ends up telling Steven, and then Steven is like, I'm going up there. She's like, no, please no. He was like, no, I need to be there for them. And I just love that he tells her that he's going, and it is honestly one of my favorite moments in the whole entire season. Rain is so funny, you know, when he's like, I'm going, and she's like, okay, like, she's like, why are you telling me this? And then she decides that she's gonna go with him. I just think it's really cute that, like, he wasn't even asking her to come or anything with him. He was just like, I'm leaving town and, like, I want you to know. Like, I just think that was really cute. And then her just being like, what am I supposed to do with this? And then deciding to come is obviously really cute. The road trip itself is really cute because we really get quickly into, like, how they have that banter that we see, but they also have an emotional depth to them that's really nice. So we see that Steven is kind of still mad and, like, feeling bad about how he treated Belly in the party episode, and she is not letting him off the hook for that. She's like, you were being an a-hole, and, like, your sister was sad and you yelled at her. And I love that like, she's not letting him slide, especially because we know she has a crush on him, but, like, she challenges him, and I really, really love that. And you see that this kind of affects him, this opinion she has of him in that moment, because he's like, oh, do you think, like, I'm a bad brother? And she's like, you're not a bad brother. And I really love, like, how serious she takes the moment. Like, she's not like, dude, you're not a bad brother, because obviously he's not a bad brother. Even when I did not like him, I didn't think he was a bad brother. But she really, like, takes the moment seriously and is explaining everything, and is explaining, I think, how it's okay for him to be feeling, because we see a lot of, like, his guilt is how he's excited to go off to college while also still being sad for Susanna, and I think that's a really difficult emotion to process, of, like, having something really happy in your life and having something really sad in your life, and how, like, you can fully experience and appreciate both of those without feeling like an a-hole. So she kind of validates that, of, like, you can be excited for something and also be sad for something else, and everyone grieves in different ways. It's also, I think, the first or second time that we hear about Taylor going to therapy, which, like, yes, love a therapy queen. Like, Taylor's, like, the most level-headed, I feel like, for the majority of this, and when you find out she goes to therapy, you're like, it all makes sense now. Like, it's a good advertisement for going to therapy, because the girl knows how to communicate, and it's just really adorable. She reassures him that he's a good brother, he's a good person, and also kind of challenges him again and kind of pushes him on how sometimes he can act like he's the smartest person in the room. And for him, it doesn't even really seem like that's something he realized how that can come across, but he's open to hearing it from her. It's really cute, it's really sweet. They end up at Cousins, and that's where we go from there. Episode 4, aka the episode that changed everything for me. This is the episode where I was like, fuck, I really like them. Like, episode 3, I was like, okay, they're pretty cute. Like, I think I could, like it if they get together. And then episode 4, I'm watching this, and I'm, like, laughing and giggling watching it. I'm like, fuck, they got me. Like, it's just so cute. The whole competitiveness with them competing is really adorable, but then there's also just so many little moments that I think are really so cute. So we get Taylor being the one that kind of calls Steven out about potentially breaking the AC. She's like, very interesting that, like, the AC breaks the night that, like, the future engineer comes and stays, which I think is just really cute and shows how well she knows him. And then we also get my favorite moment. Like, this is the moment that sold me, and it's so stupid. It's such a small little moment, but this is, like, my romantic brain is just, like, literally, like, it's like an id factor. Like, it's not even, like, a rational or, like, mature part of my brain. It's just, like, the basic brain that needs romance. I love the moment when she comes over to him when he's talking to Belly, and she's just, like, standing there, not even, like, making a face or anything, just, like, standing there, and he's like, what? And she's like, what? Like, it's just so cute how they're, like, teasing each other like that and just make each other so happy and so excited, and it's just, it's adorable. It's a little moment, but like I said, this was the moment of, like, closing the computer after watching it, looking in the mirror and being like, I've become a Steven and Taylor shipper. Never did I think this day would be here. So for that, it will always be my favorite episode. Episode 5 is the Steven and Taylor episode, guys, okay? If episode 4 was what started me shipping them, episode 5 was like the reward I got for finally starting to ship them, right? So everyone ends up at the country club because obviously their aunt sold everything without telling them and was like, hey, too bad, right? So they end up at the country club to try and just, you know, have a place to sleep and eat for the night. We get an amazing dance scene, which was like, I don't know why, but like reminiscent to me of like Troy and Gabriella. I think like watching that as like a like freshman in high school, the Troy and Gabriella dancing like did something to me that now anytime like a couple like romantically dances like that, I'm like, I love it. Like literally I just had this experience when Henry and Alex were dancing together in Red, White, and Royal Blue. We kind of get that. Again, she's still with Milo and I was like hesitant because I was like, I don't want it to be like a cheating storyline, which would have been really frustrating. But we just get a really cute moment and we see more of their chemistry develop and more of that like back and forth that we hear Steven talk about later, where it's like this game of like first one to admit feelings loses, but it's like that kind of touch of like how far can I push it? And again, Taylor's being very good, I have to say, because it's like, if this is the guy you had a crush on for more than half your life, I would be melting. And instead she stays resolute, you know? Like she's melting a little, but not completely. So it's very, very cute, very sweet. I just loved it, especially with like all the mess that's going on with the love triangle. It's just nice to see a couple falling for each other for the first time and spending such a sweet, cute moment together. Episode 6. I feel like I keep being like, this is the Taylor and Steven episode, but this is kind of the Taylor and Steven episode. It's like if you know that there's different sections of a relationship, especially like seeing a relationship on a TV show, it's like if we're going up the hill, this is when we hit it, right? This is an amazing, amazing episode. So Belly decides to throw a party because they see no option with keeping the house. Like they're losing it, so they're like, let's have one last hurrah, let's, you know, just go crazy and have a party. And Steven is fully in his I Love Taylor era, okay? Like, he is down bad. He is, like, picking songs specifically on a playlist just that he knows Taylor will like, just to see her smile. It's adorable. It's really sweet. You're really excited. And then who shows up? Who has the audacity to show up but Milo? And again, I didn't want them to cheat, so I was glad that they kind of dealt with the Milo storyline ish before. I guess you could say there was like emotional cheating, but Milo has become a bit of a clinger, okay? Taylor's starting to realize that she doesn't really get a lot out of this relationship, that she's kind of always dealing with Milo's issues and Milo's worries and Milo's fears, and he literally can't be away from her long enough to have her be able to help her best friend. He goes to the party and she is not happy with this. But before that happens, we get the iconic, I think this scene will live on and on. It is just so good. The iconic Party in the USA scene where they dance together and it's just so cute, and that's the moment where they're together and Steven's like, you win, alright? I lose. Like, whoever like admits to copying feelings first. And she's like, stop, like tries to brush it off, is like, you're kidding. And he's like, no, like you have become like one of my favorite people ever and like the person that like I think about the most and like want to see and want to make smile. And it's just so adorable and so cute, and you're like ready for some cute moment, and then bleach blonde Machine Gun Kelly himself walks in and is like, what's happening here? He's not British, I don't know why, but that's just the vibe you get from him, that he would have a fake British accent, honestly, really. He shows up, is like, Taylor, let's go. She's like, I don't want to go. Steven's like, she doesn't want to go anywhere with you. And Milo gets like really like douchey alpha male where he's like, she goes everywhere with me. And I mean everywhere. And she's just like, can you not right now? Like, literally Taylor's just like, can we please just like talk about this somewhere else and not do this? So then they start fighting, of course. And Steven actually holds his own, I do have to say. Like, he's pretty much kicking his ass. So Milo's like, forget this. I don't need this. We don't need this. Taylor, let's go. Like, these people suck. And she's like, these people aren't my friends. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is like my best friend. And like, you didn't even ask like what I wanted. You just assume because you want to leave, like, I want to leave with you. He's like, you're my girl, Taylor. Like, I love you so much. And she's like, really? I'm your girl. What's my middle name? And he's just like, and so she's like, frick this. Like, you don't know my middle name. Like, I've put so much into this relationship and you can't even, like, care about my opinion or who I am. Like, it's all about you. I'm out. Bye. Steven is like, her middle name is Madison. And when I tell you, my heart in that moment was like, yes, like I would loved it so, so much. And she's like upset, obviously, because again, like Milo, as much of a douche, like she did like him and genuinely think like their relationship was like equal, and now she's realizing like, oh, this guy doesn't give me the time of day. So Steven sits down and kind of reassures her with everything, and then she's like, you knew my middle name. And he's like, yeah, Taylor Madison Jewel. And they kiss, and it's so cute. Like, I can't even, it's just the lighting. It's so, they get a Taylor Swift song. Like, I am so excited and happy. I cannot even begin to tell you the way I screeched. Like, I watch this scene on YouTube at least once a day, honestly. Like, it just brings me so much serotonin. It's amazing. It's beautiful. At least the party ended well for someone. Milo, get out of here. Episode 7 is a bit of a lighter one, but they are, like, together. It's not official, and, like, Steven's like, she's not my girl, like, she's not official, but you can tell that they definitely both have feelings for each other. I think Taylor is being very cautious still because she's already had her heart broken by him once, but Steven is, like, so loved up. Like, she's like, hey, can you drive me to the bus stop? And he's like, bus stop, please, take my car, and, like, make sure, like, she's all set to go. He's like, make sure you get home safely, like, text me. And they still get, like, a cute moment where he's like, you're gonna want to fill, like, he's giving her tips for the road trip, and she's like, that makes no sense. And, like, it's just, like, their relationship, and then she's like, I'm gonna put regular, right? And he's like, no! And she just, like, takes off. It's adorable, it's cute. And then we also get a moment, I think in this episode, of when he says, like, I just want to get back home to Taylor. It's so cute. I love it. I love how in love he is with her, because I feel like it's already been established how much Taylor likes him. So now to see the boy, like, head spinning because he's just so obsessed with this girl is really, really cute. So episode 8 was a tough one, guys. I'm gonna be honest. They went on, like, their date, but it didn't go good. Milo rears his ugly head again and makes, like, this, like, embarrassing video of Steven. So Steven's like, like, why can't, like, this guy just go away or whatever? We also got, like, a really sweet throwback to earlier when Taylor said that, like, sometimes girls just want roses, okay? And he brings her roses, but it doesn't go good. It's in front of her friends. It's kind of awkward because, like, they haven't really defined the relationship yet. And Taylor, I think, is, again, really cautious. She doesn't want to get hurt by him. She doesn't want to bring anyone else in that this could, like, embarrass her, or, like, people could bring up, oh, what happened to your relationship with Steven, you know? And I get it, okay? I get it. Like, we've all been there, I feel like, especially, like, in high school, like, being like, no, like, this relationship will break my heart if it doesn't go good, and I need no one else to know about it but me, okay? So, it doesn't go good. They also end up fighting weirdly about, like, Jeremiah, Conrad, and Belly and that whole relationship. They're on different sides of the thing, and it always throws me for a loop when, like, people actively talk about, like, choosing sides in a love triangle that's, like, happening in their life, because I just feel like you would do that in real life. Like, if my friend was dating 2 guys and, like, I liked one more than the other, I would be like, yeah, I like this guy more than the other. So, like, it's realistic, but it just also feels cringy. I don't know why. Does that make sense? Like, it would be like if, like, well, I guess actually Charlie, Bella's dad, was, like, actively like, Jacob is better. Don't go for Edward. So I guess in a way they did have it, but it's just a little weird, and it's a little annoying that, like, their relationship, like, we're taking away time from them to talk about this love triangle. I get it's the main thing, but, like, it's just frustrating and annoying. So whatever, that happens. They're fighting, they're upset, you know, the high that we had is now gone. But Taylor is then leaving for volleyball camp for the summer, and Steven shows up to bring her Belly stuff just in case Belly ends up changing her mind and trying to go to camp. And they do something that we don't often see in relationships on this show. They properly communicate. Yes, you heard that right. They talk about their feelings. He says that he doesn't like that she had just kind of blew him off and then ignored his texts and wouldn't explain, like, what he did wrong with her friends. Like, he feels like he embarrassed her, but he doesn't know what exactly it is that he did wrong. She says that, like, she is embarrassed by him, and he's like, that's mean. And she's like, no, 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 that's not what I mean, which thank goodness, because you know anyone else would, like, walk away, and then you're like, wait, that's not what she means. She's had a crush on him for so long that it's almost embarrassing. It's embarrassing how much she likes him and the ability he has to hurt her in this relationship if they don't end up working out. Like, she says in a lot of her other relationships, she didn't like the person as much as they liked her, so she kind of always had the power from getting hurt because, like, she could just cut it off anytime she wanted to, and she knew that, like, they would never cut it off, or if they did, she wouldn't be that upset because she didn't like them that much. With Steven, it'll absolutely emotionally devastate her. And he's like, no, 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 like, that is not gonna happen. Like, if anyone's gonna get hurt in this relationship, it's me. And it's just such growth for him, I feel like, from being, like, in season 1 having to, like, literally be consoled by Shiloh that, like, she's not gonna leave him for a richer guy. It's just So adorable and so sweet. I hope it's not like foreboding though of like what's gonna happen, because like last time that happened, remember on Euphoria where Ethan was like, I will hurt myself before I hurt you, and then like he actually did end up getting his heart broken. But anyway, I don't think that's gonna happen, but it's so cute. They kiss, they decide to officially start dating. Everyone cheered. My crops grew for the first time in 10 years. It was just an awesome moment to behold, and I am so excited to see what they have in store for season 3. I'm nervous because I think like with everything with Conrad, Belly, and Jeremiah, like that's kind of already defined. Like, yeah, they could change it, but I don't really think they will. Like, she wrote the story for a reason, and I feel like I've been burned by so many ships in the past that don't end up as being endgame, and I love them and invested in them so much that, much like Taylor, if Steven left her, if this couple does not end up together, I will be hurt. I just love them so much. I think they're so sweet. I love that like they are like the solid relationship, the communicating relationship. Like, forget the love triangle. They are the star of the show to me. I saw so many people being like literally watching the show just for Steven and Taylor right now, because it's like, yes, we want the drama, but we don't want it to be just like stupid, you know, where it's just like you're going around in circles being like, why are we still doing this? I really like them. I like them because they're cute, they're good together, but I feel like it also shows character growth on both their ends, and I really hope that they can continue that and just be awesome and amazing. And, you know, not saying it's going to be perfect. They might have issues, but they can work that out, and we can see them communicate in a healthy way like we have in this season. So I just love them so much. I can't believe I just sat down for this long and talked about every single thing that happened, but I feel like that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes a ship just creeps up on you, knocks you over the head, drags you in, and then before you know it, you're on their ship, literally. So yeah, if you have seen the second season, I need to know your thoughts on Steven and Taylor. It was such a surprise for me, like I said, but they're honestly one of my favorite ships of the entire year so far. I think of the show too, because there's so much like hurt, I feel like, between any of the like main love triangle relationships. I feel like you can't, like, even whichever one you ship, it still like feels like sometimes, whereas this one is just so wonderful, it's so great, it's so clear and communicative, and I just love it so much. So yeah, let me know what you thought of them down below, what your favorite moment of them was, if you shipped them from the beginning, or if you're like me and you kind of just like all of a sudden realized it, you know, all or nothing. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!